Scrambled eggs are the household name of everyday cooking. So many of us learn to cook with an egg, yet despite their approachability, the internet has made them be a complex being with thousands of different ways to make them perfectly. I tend to avoid perfection, especially with food. Depending on your hurry level, depending on what you want in an egg, depending on if you like them covered in hot sauce or not, you may like a totally different style of egg than me. I tend to gravitate towards 4 types of scrambled eggs. These are gonna range from the most amount of work to the least amount of work. Think your Saturday morning style eggs to your like Tuesday, I need to get food in me type of eggs. These eggs are gonna have you covered no matter what you need to make for breakfast. Let's get it.
We're gonna start with the most weekend of scrambled eggs. These easily are the most work, but they result in a luxurious, creamy egg like no other. We'll crack 2 eggs into a bowl and then scramble them really well. We don't want any strands of white visible because those are gonna streak in the pan. The reason for this creamy deliciousness is the amount of butter going into these eggs. Roughly 1 to 2 tablespoons of cold, unsalted butter. Like I said, luxurious. Season that with salt and pepper, and then we can move to the stove. I like to make these in a smaller nonstick pan as that allows me to better control the heat. Speaking of heat, we'll be cooking these on low with a little bit of butter in the pan to be our temperature gauge. When that starts to melt, you can add your eggs and begin mixing. The key here is consistent stirring over time. These are gonna take a while. While we stir, the curds of the egg are gonna form, but they're gonna be really small and creamy. As I mentioned, these are a weekend egg, so take your time to get them right. Take them off the heat when they're still shiny but fully cooked. These are one of those things that I like to make fancy, so I finish them with some nice olive oil and some flaky salt. Delicious, fancy, and totally brunch worthy. Now for something a little bit less complicated, but just as tasty. These are gonna be the standard, fluffy, large curd scrambled eggs. Think of these as your breakfast sandwich or Waffle House type of egg. We'll start with 3 eggs cracked and scrambled just like before, and then I use a 10-inch nonstick pan for these over medium heat. The only butter we're gonna use is roughly a tablespoon melted in the pan until just foamy. Add your eggs and then lower the heat to medium-low. I like to put these in a hot pan and then lower the pan a little bit as I go. Once the eggs have slightly set, use long strokes from the edge of the pan to pull the cooked curds into the center. I like to think about this as mixing the heat thoroughly into the egg. Continue this process until you have thick, fluffy eggs fit for a breakfast taco or breakfast sandwich. I like to call this the hot and fast method. We're gonna cook these eggs on high heat so they're finished in about 20 seconds. The trick here is to keep them moving as soon as they go in the pan because everything happens fast. We'll do 3 eggs again, scrambled just like before. Get your pan over high heat and add your tablespoon of butter. Once that's foamed but not browning, add your eggs and immediately begin stirring vigorously because these are gonna start cooking right away. If you don't stir, they're gonna be overcooked and dry. These will be done within about 20 seconds or so, depending on the heat, so don't stop stirring. This goes without saying for all these recipes, but cook the eggs to your desired doneness. I may like mine a little bit more moist and kind of liquidy than you do, and that's totally okay, no judgments here, as long as you don't judge me for covering mine in Louisiana hot sauce. This last one is the laziest, uses the least amount of butter, and involves almost no cleaning. This is the classic marble-style scrambled egg that sees you cracking eggs directly into the pan. I can't think of a better scrambled egg for a weekday morning. Get your nonstick pan over medium heat, add enough butter to cover the bottom of the pan, and crack the eggs directly in. You can let the whites set slightly before stirring, but get mixing almost right away. I'm not sure why, but I always like these eggs with a lot of pepper. Don't know, just always tastes good to me. Continue stirring over medium heat until the eggs are nice and set. I feel like this type of cooking gets a really bad rep on the internet because it isn't fancy or really beautiful, but there's nothing wrong with this dish. It's still creamy, it's still fluffy, and it's perfect for breakfast.
So I just showed you 4 recipes for amazing, delicious, different situational scrambled eggs. Let me know what your favorite type of scrambled egg, how you like to make them at home down below. The next video I'm gonna make is going to get into breakfast tacos. Being from Texas, these hold a very, very special place in my heart. They are near sacred. These require scrambled eggs, and there are a couple different ways to make them, and I'm gonna take the scrambled eggs we just made and turn them into amazing breakfast tacos. So subscribe for that if you're interested and wanna see when that comes out. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.